पापविमोचन तारक रामा Om. Sorry friends, we did all the Parayana slokas, but something went wrong. I was observing, it was not getting telecast. So I am restarting. Yoga Vaashishtha Maha Ramayanam. We are studying third Utpatthi Prakaranam, 14th SARGA, Brahma Pratipadanam. Brahman alone is ultimate reality. Keep on studying this subject till the intellect develops that intuitive power first to grasp intellectually, thereafter get inspired to realize that self and do the internal sadhana required, then realize that Brahma Sthiti. That's how this text guides us. Sri Vaashishtha ji guiding Sri Rama, very young age of 16 years before he goes with Vishwamitra ji for the Yagna Rakshana, Sita Swayamvara and all those things. Great Grantha, Sukshma Grantha, very few dare to study it. We having faith on Sri Rama and Vasishtha that they'll bless us to understand it. We are going through. Right, friends? Om, 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo. Om Yerime Gurubihi Purvam. Om Sri Rama Rama Rameti. Om Brahmanandam Parama Sukhadam. Parabrahmane Shruti MAATRE. Samasta Brahma Bhakti Yoga Dharma. Vidyacharibhyo Rishibhyo Munibhyo. Gurubhyo Devatabhyo Asmad. Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Ramachandra Parabrahmane Vasishtha Vishwamitra. Valmiki Vedavyasa Vamadevadi. ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्येभ्यो रामायण शास्त्राचार्येभ्यो नमः संकल्पः तेषां सर्वेषां कृपानुग्रहेण उपनिषद योग वासिष्ठ महारामायणोक्त ब्रह्मात्मैक्यबोधेन अस्मिन् क्षणे एव मोक्ष कैवल्य प्राप्त्यर्थं सनातन धर्मस्य विश्वव्याप्ति विश्व आध्यात्मिक प्रगत्यर्थं धर्म संस्थापकानां निरंतर दिग्विजयार्थं श्रीराम मंदिरवत् शिवकृष्णादि मंदिरादीनां पुनर्वाप्ति तेषु निरंतर शास्त्र अध्ययनादीनां द्वारा भारतवर्षस्य सनातन धर्मस्य बाह्याभ्यंतर शत्रुघ्न समूल निर्मूलन पूर्वक भारतवर्षे विश्वे च अस्मात् क्षणादारभ्य वैदिक हिंदव संस्कृतेः धर्मोक्ष पुरुषार्थानां सुसंप्रतिष्ठावाप्त्यर्थम् अस्यां कक्षायाम् आगतानां संकल्पित सत्कर्मसु दिग्विजयार्थं तेषां हृदये परब्रह्मादीनां प्रतिभक्त्यादीनां द्वारा जन्म साफल्यार्थं श्री वाल्मीकि महर्षि विरचित श्री राम वशिष्ठ संवाद रूप श्री योग वासिष्ठ महारामायण शास्त्रस्य पारायणम् अध्ययनं साधना प्रयत्नं वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे। मंगलाचरण श्लोकाः। ओम यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ओम तस्मै श्री गुरवे वसिष्ठमुनये नित्यं नमस्कुर्महे। ओम विश्वामित्रमुनिं शरण्यमनघं भूयो नमस्याम्यहम्। ओम तस्मै श्री वाल्मीके श्री गुरुतम गुरवे भूरिभावैर्नताः स्मः। ओम पूर्णानंद स्वभावः स्वजनहितकृते माययोपात्तकायः कारुण्यादुद्दिदीर्षुर्जनमनवरतं मोहपङ्के निमग्नम् आविश्यान्तर्वसिष्ठं बहिरपि कलयन् शिष्यभावं वितेने यः संवादेन शास्त्रामृतजलधिममुं रामचन्द्रं प्रपद्ये। ओम श्रीराम जय राम श्रीराम जय राम जय राम श्रीराम जय राम जय राम श्रीराम जय राम जय राम। ओम श्रीराम शरणं मम श्रीरामायण शरणं मम श्रीवसिष्ठ शरणं मम Shri Vishwamitra Sharanam Mama, Shri Valmiki Sharanam Mama, Shri Vyasa Sharanam Mama, Shri Narada Sharanam Mama, Shri Sadguru Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Sharanam Mama, Sharanam Mama. Friends, yesterday in this Brahma Pratipadanam, 14th Sarga of 3rd Utpatthi Prakaranam, we have seen how Mahapralaya Pariyanteshu Adyakala Pitamaha, all the Ativahika Prathama Purushas or Prajapatis, they just realize, therefore, they don't have any samsara left, that again and again it is not they are coming as creators. They only get dissolved in the realization of Brahman. Muchyante sarva evataha praktanam karma teshu kim. Then before that, one important thought was prithvyadi rahitaha dehaha yo viradatmakaha mahan ativahika evasau chinmatra acha nabhomaya. It's a very important thought. Chinmatra, pure consciousness, nabhomaya, like the infinite space. Here on Prativyadi Rahita, without the Prativyadi, Stula expressions was the first Prajapati Swayambhu. He at that level is Ativahika Deha. At that time, other than him, there is nothing. Point one. Point two, he is such a being, there are no modifications in him. Therefore, he has neither become creator nor the world got created out of him. Then, through his Maya Shakti, all that is Sankalpita, including the so solid Stula Jagat which we see and are taking it to be real in our ignorance. And all the people, Jivas, are ignorant. Therefore, all of them think this Stula Jagat is real. Just by every one of them saying so, the Stula Jagat will not become real, especially when, like a scientist in his scientific mind, while inquiring, dissolved the entire Stula Jagat into the atoms. So, too, with the spiritual scientific mind, if we can contemplate on the substratum, we will see the whole so solid, so much solidly looking Jagat is not so solid. It's only Kalpana of the Mana. And the Mana itself is not a substantial, tangible, independent thing. It's it's a Shakti of Paramatma. So therefore the whole Jagat is Kalpanika, not Paramarthika. This we have to so deeply take into us. But others are not studying this subject. In schools, colleges, this is not taught. In school, college, so many things also not taught. Are you not learning? And everybody is not studying medicine. Doesn't mean the medical knowledge is not there, isn't it? Everybody is not studying physics. So too, the people are not exposed to this for whatever reasons. It doesn't mean knowledge doesn't exist and also not valid. Let us be clear. Just by seeing the majority of people not studying this sublime knowledge, don't say that this knowledge is invalid. So too, this knowledge definitely will not be upayoga, useful in the world samsara, but it is the only one which helps us to get rid of the bandhana of the samsara. May these things patch up our questions or our doubts, our despairs, our again and again arising suspicions regarding this sublime mukti giving Brahma Jnana Tattva Jnana. Right? Now let us start today's study from the mantra 10 onwards. What is it said? कि सोकुड्य एव अकुड्य सो अकुड्य एव कुड्यात्मा दृश्यादृश्यः स्वयं स्थितः. See, akudya eva kudyatma. Kudya is like the walls. The wall of a pot, kudya, is differentiating the outer space from the inner, inner from the outer. But is that wall really capable of differentiating? Where the walls, all of the pot itself is standing He is not in the space. In the same way, this Ativahika Paramatma, without the Kudya, therefore never away from the Shuddha Brahma only. Yet, with his Sankalpa, he makes himself to be an Ativahika Deha, as if for the further Sankalpa Srushti. First point. So, Akudyeva Kudyatma. Then, Drishya Drishyaha. Drishya, he is there in the manifested form later on in the Stula Sukshma Karana Rupa. And Adrushyaha, yet none of that Drishya are there in him. And then the most beautiful thought is Swayam Sthitaha. He himself is in his own pristine form, and any form later comes up. In that form, he alone is there. Next, Nacha Drishyam, Nacha Drashta, Nasrashta. See, there is no Drishyam, there is no Drashta, there is no creator of these two Drashta, Drishya. What is there then? Sarvamevacha. There is nothing other than him. He only, without becoming Drishya, appearing as Drishya. Without becoming Drashta, appearing as Drashta. Without becoming the Srashta, he is playing the play of being the Srashta, creator of both Drashta and Drishya. In spite of all of that, Sarvamevacha. He is there in the nook and corner of everything himself, intact. Isn't it? Right? The mud is inside every aspect of the pot as mud only. Yet a funny phenomena appears which we call it as the pot and get lost in our delusion in giving reality to that pot. More delusion is added when that water is more useful in the Vyavahara than the mud in the form of storing the water, storing other things, etc. See, just because the pot is used for storing waters or other purposes, the gamla is used for Narayana for planting the plants in that. The lamp is used for lighting the lamp. Just because that the utility value has the pot or the gamla or the lamp becomes real and has that mud has disappeared? Just think. This is called illusion. What is what? Inability to recognize the mud. Getting lost in the Vyavahara utility of the pot, etc. So too, in the Vyavahara of this Jagat, we are so much lost that we are thinking that the Vyavahara Upayogi, the Rupanamatmaka Jagat, and the Vyavahara Upayogi Upadis are so real. In such a manner, we are accepting it. This is called illusion. That just like in all the gamlas and pots, the mud alone is there which is not recognized when we are lost in the Vyavahara. So too, in the entire Rupanamatmak Jagat, in its nook and corner, and in the entire Upadis, that substratum alone is there, we are failing to recognize. Just to see this very important threshold. The threshold is what? दहेली कहते हैं याद रखो सुनो me when I recognize that the outer scene forms and names and these upadhis are nothing but Brahman, very sorry that no more Vyavahara can be possible. And because of that only, the negative jiva in us, the negative mind in us, are not trying to recognize that substrate. It's a very intricate, subtle point. At the very same time, mind you, the entire dukkha called as samsara is there in these upadhis, in the Rupanamatmak Jagat, and in the Vyavahara. And that day when we realize in this way that the dukkhatmaka bandhana and samsara are there in the upadhis and in the Jagat and in the Vyavahara. And when we want to get rid of it, we become sadhakas. And to that sadhakas, when he gives up the hold on the upadhis, gives up the hold on the Rupanama Jagat, and gives up the hold on the Vyavahara, suddenly he develops that intuitive power to realize that substratum which was ever there, even earlier too. And to the more surprise, that substratum is me only. अब कितने बातें हैं देखो, everywhere in this world. I, out of my lalach for money, am corrupt. I know that. The moment I know that the corruption is wrong and I give up, I will not have money. But I know, even I know that because of the corruption only, all the bribes, etc., that I am suffering inside the regrets, guilts, and I am suffering the humiliation, suspensions outside. The moment I realize and say that no more I want to be slave to this money illegal coming, which is giving me samsara, that very moment, already existing knowledge inside that I should live a non-corrupt life, that just expresses. The moment you realize that and stop doing all the corruption, the release in the heart felt freedom. The freedom in the world that I can lift my head and live. So great. हर जगह ऐसे होता है. Anything you example take, the sleep tamoguna, it gives so much joy. Remember, the moment that tamoguna is given up, now no more the sleep, etc. comes. But you must also know, because of that excessive tamoguna only, we are not able to be creative and productive. The moment we feel so, that I'm not creative, productive, useful to myself also, because of my tamoguna, I want to give up. At the very moment, the sattva guna in us rises, and in the rising of sattva guna, we will recognize that we are active, we are creative, we are performing, we are productive, we are achieving so many things. कहीं भी देखो आप. The summary of all of that is what? Hope you are catching. That in us, the negative jiva, when he devalues the upadhis and the world, he cannot have the sukha bhoga of the world. Therefore, he doesn't devalue or give it up. But that inside where the other fellow positive jiva dominates and knows it, that the very so-called samsara vyavahara only, all dukkha's are there and they are not worthy. They have to be given up. That very moment, the knowledge of the self reveals. When it is realized, we know unnecessarily I was by my choice bound for such a long time. It wasn't required. Never mind. Now let me not claim in front of the world that I am wise now because they laugh at me that till yesterday I was such a fool. That I took the Vyavaharik Jagat so real and got lost in samsara, missing the joy of being the infinite substratum. So this is how it is. Nacha drishyam, nacha drashta, na srashta, sarvameva cha. Same thing slowly, repeatedly tries to tell us. Let us see. Pratishabda padarthanam sarvesham esha eva saha tasmadudeti jivali deepali deepakadiva. So, pratishabda padarthanam sarvesham. For the entire padarthas and the shabda called as name that's given to them, esha eva saha. It is all he alone in every shabda, in every nama. That's why in Mandukya Upanishad also, the whole world is Rupa Namatmaka. Anna? It starts explaining like that. Second point, no Rupa can exist without a Nama. Third, no Nama can exist without Shabdas. Fourth, no Shabdas can exist without their starting, their modification, and their ending. That starting, ending, modification are called A and U and Ma. And no, these A, U, Ma and Shabdas, which are matras, akara, ukara, makara matras, with which all the shabdas and all the rupas are made. Then they all come from the absolute silence. So therefore, the silence, the Brahman alone, all the three matras alone, all the shabdas alone, all the nama, and all the namas alone, all the rupa. That's how the entire Rupanama-atmaka Jagat is. Nothing but Brahmana in our Mandukya, in the Pranava explanation that's given to us. The other side, the objective world also. How the Vedanta sorts out the objective world. Vedanta sorts out objective world by this way. No objective world without subjective world. Subject to me. Therefore, by inquiring the subject, they dissolve the object. In the science, they try to find the substratum of the object without taking the subject into consideration. Therefore, the science ends in shunyata and the spirituality ends in purnata. What's the difference? Wherever the science says shunya, there the spirituality says everywhere there, wherever you are saying shunya, shunya, you are there. Therefore, you are purnam. They say shunyamada, shunyamidam, shunya, shunyam. And we say purnamada, purnamidam, purnat, purnam. So, what is here? Pratishabda padarthanam sarvesham esha eva saha. Correct? Next one. Tasmad udeti jivalihi. From him, tasmad means from that Brahman only, udeti, rise. Like the waves rise in the water, never separate from the water. So to tasmad udeti jivali. Jivali means the sequence of the n number of jivas. Deepali, Jivali, Deepali, Deepaka Diva. Like Deepali, Deepaka Diva. Like from one lamp lit, so many lamps come. So too, from him only, one after the other, the infinite number of jivas are. Udayati means kalpito. Catch this point. Explanation. Sankalpa eva sankalpat kila iti iva kshmadi varjitaha adimadiva nishunyaha swapnat swapnantaram yatha. So sankalpa eva sankalpat. From one sankalpa to the other sankalpa, kshmadi varjitaha, without the solid looking, substantial looking prithvis in its true existence. मतलब जो पृथ्वी आप हमको दिख रहा है in the highest contemplation level, it is never there only. Even the Prithvi is the grossification of the subtle sankalpa only. Therefore, within the Prithvi, if you go into its substratum, it is sankalpa. And to the sankalpa, the substratum is this Paramatma only. So, sankalpa eva sankalpat kila eti kshmadi varjitaha. एक संकल्प से दूसरा संकल्प बस that's it. The whole universe is Adimat Iva. Adimat means from the first primordial Prajapati, the Swayambhu, through the Sankalpa, all these Ananta Koti Jiva Srishti is happening. Then Nishunyaha appears to be something, but that something is Paramatma. Other than Paramatma, they are totally Shunya. Swapnat Swapnantaram Yatha. See that? Another example. Uh, Swapna he got. In that Swapna, the Swapna Purusha got another Swapna. In that Swapna Purusha got other Swapna. In again Mandukya, it is said the Swapna which we have is the Swapna 1 and the Jagrat which we have is Swapna 2. And the reality is the real awakening. Then Asmad Eka Pratispandat Jivaha Samprasanti. Therefore, from this one Paramatma's Pratispanda or Sankalpa, the Jivaha Samprasaranti, the entire Jivas come. Now, what is the whole thought in the last two chapters? We see the pure Brahman only, with his Maya Shakti only, he has become the Ativahika. Otherwise, that Ativahika, Swayambhu Prajapati, himself also not real, in his reality is Brahman. Point one. Point two, in the same way, like in the Samashti, the whole thing has come from the Ativahika, Swayambhu, and that Swayambhu is never real. Who is real is Brahman. If you catch that at the Samashti level, same is the Veshti level also. The entire seeming set of jivas. Like I am one jiva, you are another jiva, the other one other jiva. We say 84 lakhs of jiva rashis are there, and in each one so many of them are there. All of them are, each of the jiva is ativahika only. And his upadhi is also kalpanika only. Because of not able to think so deeply or forgotten that thing, the projected subtle is taken as real. projected subtle is taken as real. Otherwise, sorry, projected gross, very sorry. The projected gross is taken as real. And then we are not able to go back to the subtle. That's what he says. Adimat iva nishunyah swapnat swapnantaram yatha asmad eka pratispandat jivaha samprasaranti. Like in waters also, you just put a throne, one wave comes, pushes as if the next water, and another wave, another wave, another wave. So many tarangas come. Therefore, all of us are Adivahika, the Jivas. The Adivahikata is only a concept. The reality is we are all ever Brahman only. Asmad Eka Pratispandat Jivaha Samprasaranti Ye. And then the next two lines are very important. The answer is no. When this Parabrahman, the so-called Adivahika now, through his Pratispandana, he is expressing the knowingness, as we saw the earlier chapter. He is expressing the buddhiness, he is expressing as mana, he is expressing as tanmatras, he is expressing as the panchamahabhutas, and their combination, that also is sankalpa only, in the form of the sthula bhumi panchamahabhuta, and their combination in the form of all these so-called the rupanama, for them, for them, sahakari karananam abhavach. There are no other sahakari karanas. If there are no sahakari karanas, what he says, sahakari karananam abhave karya karanam ekam etad atah na anyaha parasmat sarga vibramaha. This is the punchline. Like when a pot maker made a pot, for him, he is the nimitta karana, but he had two other sahakari karanas, which are other than him. One, the mud. The pot maker is not the mud. It is always other than him. Two, the wheel and the stick, which are the instruments. They are called karana karana. They are also not the pot maker. Therefore, a pot maker from a mud, be attentive, with the help of the stick and the wheel, made a pot. Because that upadana karana is different, karana karana is different, the karya, the product, the produced pot, is always separate apart from the pot maker. इतना तो समझते हैं ना? Because of the upadana karana, karana karana are different from the pot maker. Even the nimitta karana also is different from him. It is his intelligence. He can only make pot out of mud. He cannot make the other things like others make. Okay, let us say he is nimitta karana, other two are upadana and karana karanas. They are other than him. Therefore, the karya, the effect, the pot is other than him. Now, in case of this creation, be attentive. The nimitta karana is that ativahika virat swayambhu only. The upadana also is that swayambhu only. The karana also his own sankalpa, swayambhu only. Because of not having any karana other than him. So sahakari karananam abhave. Therefore the karyam, the so-called ananta koti rupanamatmaka srishti, need not be and cannot be and never other than him only. आप समझ में आ गया ना? Why the whole jagat is Brahman? Because for the jagat's creation, if at all you call it as creation, though in Vedanta we call it only projection manifestation, the three karanas, upadana, nimitta and karana, all three are that Paramatma. Therefore, he alone in the form of this jagat. Unlike the pot. In the case of pot, the effect, the karya, the karanas, all the three are different. The nimitta karana is pot maker, different. Upadana is the mud, different. The karana, the stick and wheel are different. तो तीनों कारण अलग अलग होने के कारण सहकार्य कारण अलग होने के कारण द कार्यम इज अपार्ट फ्रॉम द कर्ता द कारण or the one of the nimitta karan. But in case of Paramatma, sahakari karananam abhave, because of the absence of the other sahakari karanas, as separate from him other than him, karya karanam ekam etat ekam etat. Therefore, there the karana and karya have to be one. Ataha, 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 ataha. Therefore, the anyaha parasmat sarga vibramaha. Therefore, the vibrama of this sarga is never anya, never other than that Paramatma. He only is in the form of his Jagat. Therefore, Saha Evate. Now, Sarvam hi etad Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma. What we study in Mandukya is this only. See this. This is how the thing is brought into our understanding that the entire, the Parabrahman alone is Ativahika. Ativahika alone is in the Samishti Rupa, the Stula Sukshma Karana, and in the Veshti Rupa also Stula Sukshma Karana. Therefore, in the Veshti, in the Samashti, in the Stula Sukshma Karana Rupa, what is there is he and he and he alone. Realized with this intellectual apprehension to begin with. Then when we meditate, in the meditation, the so-called Rupa Nama, when we devalue and see the substratum from that standpoint, what is said is realized by our own aparokshanubhuti. That everything is that Brahman and that Brahman is me, therefore everything is me, there is nothing other than me for me to fall trapped into samsara. मजा आता है एक बार इस दायरे में हम आ जाते हैं ना in the groove of understanding Vedanta, when we enter into that track of understanding the Vedanta, we enter the whole vision perspective of ours regarding the world changes. That the whole world is never other than me. That real me. And this upadhi also part of it. Therefore, from the substratum standpoint, to everything substratum is one and I am that, it is never changeable or perishable. Therefore, there is no doka, there is no loss. Therefore, nothing to worry. As regards the upadhi is concerned, as every upadhi is kalpita, so to this upadhi also kalpita. And when it is kalpita, it is vikalpita. So all the upadhis as they go away, this also goes away. Therefore, I have no botheration. I have no problem at all. I am not bothered. So Adhishthana Rupena I am Brahman, therefore everything is me. Upadhi Rupena, this Upadhi also part of the total Kalpita Upadhi, which are changeable and perishable. So what? The moment the pot is started to be made, the one who knows it's already going to break, and yet mud is going to remain. He will never have samsara because of making the pot, using the pot, and breaking of the pot. Little more thing than that example of pot is the mud doesn't perish for the pot maker. For the Brahmagnani, that mud, the material cause, is me only. So I am the imperishable Brahman, intact always. In me, Veshti Samashti, Sthula Sukshma Karana, all Rupa Namas are Kalpita and Vikalpita. It is not going to affect me at all. What is the thought of a gold when it is again and again molded into different ornaments? वो कहते किसी भी रूप में मैं ही हूँ मेरा तो कोई बिगाड़ नहीं सकता मुझे मुझे तो in fact even in the gold there is some moldability. The Brahman is not even moldable. All is kalpita only. गोल्ड को आप पिघाल के आप किसी ऑर्नामेंट के रूप में करते हो ना ब्रह्म को इतना पिघल भी नहीं सकते that much intact he is yet he is infinite Baba. The whole Rupa Nama Jagat is kalpita in him. He knows Brahman that all are kalpita in me and my own Shakti. Therefore, he is not bound by kalpita Jagat because he is either not existing or it's not other than him. Same is the state of a one who has realized himself to be that Brahman. So realize ourselves to be that Brahman. I know as a substratum I am everything and I know there is nothing other than me. And anything which is otherness is only imagined by giving undue value to the Kalpita Rupa Nama, which are never real. कभी भी सत्य नहीं होने वाले कल्पित रूप नाम को सत्यता देने के कारण ही जगत में द्वैत होता है सब रूप नाम के अधिष्ठान एक ब्रह्म को जो जानता है उस दृष्टि से सारे रूप नाम जो कल्पित जानता है इसलिए उसको जो सत्यता नहीं देता, उनको कोई द्वैत द्वंद्व होता ही नहीं in reality. It's a very tough thing but beautiful thing. Try to catch. Now, next one. यहां तक समझ में आ गया? सहकार्य कारणानाम अभावे कार्य कारणम एकम एतत्. All the karana karya is one only. Ataha, the gist, the conclusion is na anyaha parasmat sarga vibramaha. The sarga, creation rupi vibrama, in it, whatever are seen, at no point of time they are never other than Brahman. That's the meaning of Brahma Pratipadanam, the name of this sarga. What is the name of sarga? The Brahma Pratipadanam. So the Pratipadanam establishment, that the entire creation is nothing but Brahman. Because in the creation, all the Karanas are the Brahman only. And all the Karanas are Brahman in what way? He is the Mula Padartha and remaining is only the Kalpana. Mula Padartha is Brahman, Satchit Brahman, and the remaining is Kalpana. What is Kalpana? That the Mula Padartha is in the Karana Rupa, in the Sukshma Rupa, in the Sthula Rupa, all Kalpana. And that is what we attend more, and that is what we give reality more. Not only we, everybody does that. Therefore, it becomes as if the gross world and the interaction of the gross world alone is real. That's why the entire world is samsara, in samsara. Few of them, they go beyond that. Like the Gurudeva gives example, all the fishes in the water, thinking the water alone is ultimate. One fish somehow out of that jumped. While jumping, it got so much suffocated because it was habituated to be in the water. Somehow, holding on to its life and breath, when it jumped out of water, it became the amphibian that it could recognize the presence of earth and the ability to live in the earth. In that way, seeing that one fish, another fish jumped, it also became amphibian from only aquatic. This is how the evolution happened. In the same way, one being came out of the satyata given to the Upadhi and realized the real sattvas. At that time, all other were in the samsara only taking Rupanama as real. Then he, in his realization of the substrata, when he went on telling this, one or two or three or four, the other fishes also heard and they also came out and they evolved. So in the samsara samudra, we all are fishes taking this Stula Sukshma Karana, Jagat and Jivana as if it is real. Most. Among this samsara only, some fishes like us, when are caught by the fisherman like Guru or caught by somebody who wants to save us, when they teach us, though it is suffocating in the beginning, but when you patiently listen to them, we also eject out of the samsara waters to evolve to know that there is one reality when all, and that is me. First intellectually बात समझ में आएगा, thereafter we realize it. And it's an evolution, slowly it happens. Okay, देखो the 14th श्लोका देखो क्या मस्त बोलते हैं, ब्रह्मैवाद्यो विराडात्मा विराडात्मैव सर्गता जीवाकाशः स एवेत्थं स्थितः पृथ्व्याद्य सद्यतः. Excellent shloka. This is how, having explained to some extent, he summarizes. In that summary, the main punchline is given. Again, he will explain in few shlokas. Again, he will give a punchline summary. That's what we have to grasp. And all this is grasped only on the seat of contemplation, not like somebody speaking, I am listening and I am really struggling to understand even the word meaning. May Bhagavan Vaashishtha and Bhagavan Rama bless you and I with the capacity of contemplation, in which these all things we visualize with our intuitive intellect, sublime intellect. Like the intellect of a doctor, when he sees the report of the patient's tests, उनके सारे टेस्ट किए उसको देख, when he sees that X-ray or let us say the angiogram or what you call ECG, वो सारे लकीर लिखे रहते हैं. You and I, nothing we understand. But he has subtle medical knowledge to see is there anything difference in this heartbeat through that. हमको नहीं दिखता वो. He is looking at paper but not looking at paper. He is looking at the heartbeat of that patient through that paper to estimate is there any abnormal. So too he sees the other reports written on the paper. The sugar इतना है या बीपी इतना है या एक्सरे में. He is not seeing the X-ray. Through that he is seeing. He is educated in the medical knowledge. So to an economist, so to an engineer. And the engineer is not seeing as you and I see the stones and the iron, etc. in the stone and iron. He is seeing that building marvelous. He is seeing the bridge marvelous in that. होता है कि नहीं? जो पोएट को दिखता है एक सीन में हमको नहीं दिखता कभी. Same way, in Vedanti's vision, when developed, he will visualize that what is said here. Summary. What is it? Brahmaiva adyah viradatma. So the Brahmaiva, the pure Brahman alone, adya virat atma. The first expressed virat kaho inko, Brahmadeva kanko kaho, Sutratma kaho, Hiranyagarbha kaho, and in this text is called as Swayambhu, and he also is called as Ativahika. So that Ativahika Pratama Virat, whoever is there, of him, the Atman, the reality, the substratum is Brahma Eva. First stage. Brahma Eva Adya Virat Atma. Second, Virat Atma Eva Sargata. The entire Sarga creation which you see, to it the Atma is this Virat only. Therefore, the entire Jagat is the Paramatma, Parabrahma only. And the thing which we should not miss is it, the entire Sarga is Kalpana of the Virat Purusha. The Virat Purusha is Kalpana on the Brahman. The Brahman is not Kalpana, he is the only reality. The only reality. One thing. Now the second crucial thing comes. What is it? What about the all you and I jivas? See the way the teaching by Vaashishtha. Jiva kasha sa eva itham stitaha. So the entire jivas, you and I, with all our outer properties, with all our body, etc., with all our inner vasanas, our knowledges, our emotions, our capacities, talents, इन सबको नजरअंदाज करके see the peculiar word Vasishtha is using, Jiva Akasha. That means, like the Virat Purusha is the Brahma Akasha, Akasha only, Brahman, so too the Jiva also, Akasha only, and that Akasha is Brahman only. Other than him, the so-called reality given to the Dehadi Upadhi and also the Manabuddhi and their knowledge, ये सब कल्पित है, इसका कोई मायना ही नहीं है. Therefore, Jiva Akasha sa eva. The Jiva also, that Virat only, through that Virat, Brahman only. Itham stitaha. Now he is playing the Natanki as an individual. Like the total playing is total Natanki, the individual playing the individual Natanki. That's it. Itham stitaha. Now see, Prithvyadi asat yataha. Therefore, the entire Prithvi means the Stulata with which the Jiva considers himself to Sharira. Then the Hiranyagarbha comes to himself to the Virat Purusha. Asatyataha. They are, when the substratum is seen, they are asat only. I know. This is a very good thought in Mandukya we have studied. Very crucial. I know. When you take a chair, it's made of wood, let us say. So for us, the chair is real. We use it, we sit on it, we do all that. But if you go into the substratum, what is the chair made up of? Wood only, no? Where is the chair in that wood? Everywhere. Point one. If everywhere is the chair, everywhere is the wood, where is the chair then? This is how the chair's non-existence is realized. Prithvyadi asat. That's what proof. Second, are there two things called as The chair and wood. Are there two things? No one. If that is one, which is one? Chair or wood? Wood only, no? If the wood is there, where is the chair? Asat. Chair, the so-called chair, which we interact throughout life, in its rupa as well as in its nama, both is asat. The nama is given to the rupa. The rupa is superimposed on substratum, the wood. Therefore, as much the chair is asat from the wood standpoint, so much is the entire Pratyadi, Sthula Sakshma Karana are Kalpita asat from the substratum standpoint. This is what is the beauty. Jiva Akasha sa evaitam stitaha Pratyadi asat yataha. हो गया. Now, the moment Jiva Akasha word came, so Rama is a Jiva. And he is being taught by Vaashishtha in the presence of so many Puravasis, hundreds, thousands of them. So conspicuous, so clear. The interaction is also going on. इतना चल रहा है तो obviously कितने जीव हैं? And is that each jiva finite or infinite? This type of question. वशिष्ठ जी को राम जी पूछते. And that राम जी को वशिष्ठ जो आंसर देते हैं ना, again it's mind blowing. Today we'll see just 2 minutes the questions. श्रीराम उवाच किं स्यात् परिमितो जीवो राशिराहो अनन्तकः आहोस्वित् अस्ति अनन्तात्मा जीवपिण्डोऽचलोपमः धाराः पयोमुच इव शीकरा इव वारिधेः कणास्तप्ताय इव कस्मात् निर्यान्ति जीवकाः इति मे भगवन् ब्रूहि जीवजालविनिर्णयम् अज्ञातमेतत् मया प्रायः तदेव प्रकटीकुरु. So, kim syat parimito jiva rashi? The rashi means quantity. Is the quantity of jivas is parimita limited? Aho anantakaha. तो जीवों की संख्या परिमित है या अनंत है? How many jivas are there? Limited or infinite? Question 1. 2. Ahosvid asti anantatma. Each jiva is ananta. Jivapindaha achala upamaha. Achala like the mountain. This jiva, each one is ananta. This jiva pinda. Are the jivas, jiva rashi, parimita or ananta kaha? And it's each jiva ananta or santa? Two questions. Now he says, dharaha payomucha iva. Like the varsha dhara when the clouds rain the rain. कितने सारे जो रेन ड्रॉप्स होते हैं. पॉइंट एग्जाम्पल 1. 2. शीकरा इव वारिदे. अगेन लाइक द स्प्रिंकल्ड वाटर्स ऑफ द ओशन. समुद्र के जल के कण. 2 एग्जाम्पल. तीसरा कणाह तप्तायसः इव. लाइक द स्पार्क्स कमिंग आउट ऑफ एनीथिंग व्हिच इज बर्निंग. तप्तायसः कणाह. द वेरी हॉट iron burnt, from that if you hit it the kanas come out. है ना? जब आप वेल्डिंग मशीन में देखते हो वो वेल्डिंग करते हैं तो इतने सारे कण आते हैं. इस तरह कस्मात् निर्यान्ति जीवका. So the from the meghas, the varshadhara, the raindrops coming I see. So too from the ocean the sprinkled waters come when they lash at the banks. That also I see. So too from the hot iron the sparks I am seeing. So they have come from where I can tell. So to from where these many jivas are coming. कणाह तप्ताय सेवा कस्मात निर्यांते जीव का. अब इतने सारे जीव कहाँ से उत्पन्न हो रहे? इतने सारे बेटे हैं, पहले भी थे मेरे दादाजी, परदादाजी, आगे भी होंगे मेरे बच्चे, पोते पाते. Where from so many jivas are coming? Okay. इति में भगवान ब्रूहि जीव जाल विनिर्णयम. The entire gamut about the jivas What is the nirnaya about them? Are they few or are they many? Are they infinite? What is the parimana of each of them? Where from they have come? है ना? ज्ञातमेतत् मया प्रायः मया प्रायः मया प्रायः ज्ञातम्. Little I am comprehending with your teaching so far, but not an exhaustive understanding. Therefore, tadeva pragati kuro, do the prakatana of this knowledge for my doubtless clear complete understanding. इसको देख अब इसको देखकर जो जवाब देने के टाइम वाल्मीकि जी सारे वासिष्ठ जो राम जी को डांटते हैं ना, मजा आता है. एवरी शिष्य गेट्स डांटो, कभी कभी मिलना पड़ेगा उनको. इन दैट डांटना, गुरुस लव एंड गुरुस टीचिंग एंड गुरुस एक्सपेक्टेशन फ्रॉम द डिसिपल फॉर इवॉल्विंग टू हायर अंडरस्टैंड द हायर थिंग्स, दैट इज देयर. नहीं तो गुरु शिष्य को डांट कर उसका मजा नहीं लेते, उसके द्वारा उसको उकसाते हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड. What is this, you know? Are Buddhu Rama, that all jivas have come from that one Ativahika Viradatma, I told you. Then what I told? That what first Viradatma himself is, when it is said Kalpita, then how are you talking about the jivas as if, how many are they, as if they are real? अरे जब वो रियल ही नहीं है तो एक है 10 से क्या फर्क पड़ता? है ना? Understand? Like when you say, I had a dream, Swamiji, I went to a party, I had some 20, 30 friends. Then I ask you, कितने थे? Correct बोलो, 15 थे कि 20 friends थे? अबे, when it is said it is dream, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? 10 है फर्क, 20 है. It is not real. See that questions which we think we are intelligent in asking prove that we have not understood the basics. When the Virat Purusha himself is Kalpita, then what to talk about the jivas to be real? When they are not real, whether it is 1 or 10, how does it matter? पहले वो रियल है तो उसकी गिनती होगी ना. Therefore वो रियल नहीं है, that is the answer. And your question based on taking them as real. They are not real, then how can I answer how many they are? Are you understanding? That's how the glory of the Yoga Ramayana lifts us to the deeper understandings. And all of that is in the class. Remain every day in the class, in that way tuned to grasp the subtle things. In the Vyavahara, just play the play. But don't add new samsara. Exhaust all the existing samsara by doing swadharma. That's it. And have Shraddha in the Ishvara Guru Shastra that they will reveal. Once the knowledge is revealed, there is no Guru Ishvara Shastra separate from Brahman. याद रखो, जब कभी कहते हैं जब ब्रह्म का ज्ञान होता है तो गुरु या शास्त्र या जीव नहीं रहता, शिष्य नहीं. इसका अर्थ ब्रह्म से हटकर नहीं रहता. इट डजंट मीन दैट यू डिसरेस्पेक्ट और डिसरिगार्ड. So that's a different subject, not required right now. But right now, though, this is the question of Rama. Sri Vaashishtha Vacha, Eka eva na jivo asti, राशि नाम संभव कुता. अरे एक का भी नहीं है सत्यता, वो कितने हैं तुम क्या पूछते हो प्रश्न? शशशृंगम समुड्डीय प्रयाति वही ते वचा. And you say somebody is carrying something and going, and I ask you what is he carrying and going? You are telling me he is carrying chori karke the 10 of the horns of the hare, rabbits. वो ना अपने बैग में चोरी करके ले जा रहा है. क्या लेके जा रहा है? वो ना खरगोश के सिंग लेके जा रहा है. 10 खरगोश के सिंग. अरे एक खरगोश का एक भी सिंग नहीं होता. देन यू टॉकिंग अबाउट 10 खरगोश के सिंग वो चोरी करके ला रहा है. शशशृंगम समुड्डीय प्रयाति वही वचा. And the inquiry, how many have stolen that horns of the hare? अब ये प्रश्नकर्ता के मूर्खता पे वो प्रश्न उठता है. क्यों? कि hares will not have horn only. The rabbits won't have the horn. खरगोश के सिंग नहीं होते हैं. So if you're asking me, Bhagavan, how many jivas are there? Finite number or infinite? अरे not even one there, Ray, from the substantive standpoint. It's a kalpana. When it is kalpana, there's no meaning to the question of number. Any question and any answer, both are wrong. When the higher knowledge is there, instead of realizing it, why are you inquiring the ignorance? They say we all want to know what is Maya. And why no Brahman, not Maya? That will be told in the next topic. This way, this text has this subtlety. We're just trying to touch it by Lord's Kripa. If we everyday tune like this, definitely our heads will become subtler to catch it. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha Sri Vaashishtha Bhagwan ki Jai. Sri Ramachandra Bhagwan की जय. आओ थोड़ा मठामनाएं पढ़ते हैं.